People are strange. Something strange.
Is that strange?
That is strange.
That is strange.
Wow, that is strange. This is strange.
And welcome to another Strange Sauna, everybody. Welcome back. I know it has been a very, very long time. I'm a busy guy. I know. I'm sorry. I have a family. We have a lot of stuff going on. But I'm back to go over this Trump Antichrist mini-series that I've been doing. This is part 4. If you guys haven't checked out parts 1, 2, and 3, I suggest you go back and do so. A lot of interesting things to discuss there, where Trump can be seen as this Antichrist false prophet figure in the book of Revelation. Now, I'm just putting it out there. I don't necessarily subscribe to all of this stuff. I'm exploring this idea because I think it's worth exploring, especially what's going on right now. You look at Israel being attacked by Iran. World War III is imminent. It is trending on Twitter X. You have the red heifer sacrifices being any day now, right? So in the red heifer sacrifices, I go over that in either part 2 or 3 of this series. So go back and watch them all. It is a crazy, crazy story. The end times, is it near? That's what we're worried about here. That's what we're kind of looking at. We're kind of looking at things like, is the second coming of Christ happening? You never know. There's a group of people out there that do believe we are in the end times right now, and who knows what that's going to bring about, all right? So yes, we're going to get into prophetic numerology surrounding Donald Trump, specifically with the numbers 7, 33, 666, and 9/11. Numerology is something that not a lot of people are into, okay? So I wanted to group this all into one episode itself. I think you guys should check it out. Very, very fascinating stuff. Before you do, hit the like button, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Anything you can do to make this channel grow, do it. All right? Thank you, and I appreciate your help. Also, subscribe to the channel over on Apple and Spotify. Download, subscribe, leave a comment, and rate the show over there. That helps out greatly. Also, follow me, Strange Sauna Show, over on TikTok. Help me grow my channel over there. Let's get this party rolling, all right? Let's get steamy. Okay, the first thing that we're going to look at is Trump and the number 7. Now, 7 is the number of completion. God created earth and the heavens in 7 days. There's 7 days in a week. In the book of Revelation, there are 7 trumpets, and it's interesting, right? Trumpets that are cued to usher in the end of the world. The number 7 in Kabbalah means mysticism, enlightenment, and magic. There are many significant meanings to the number 7, okay? So we're going to kind of look through some more Donnie Darkened posts. And this first one is a thread. This is a massive thread. There's a lot of information, so we're going to go one by one here. But all of these are very, very coincidental. I mean, too much so. Too much to be a coincidence, if you ask me. All right, so this is a post from Donnie Darkened on February 8th, 2022. Trump was born exactly 700 days before the founding of Israel on May 14th, 1948. And on his first full day of office, he was exactly 70 years, 7 months, and 7 days old. 777. If you count the day that he was born as day 1, and he was inaugurated on his 70th, 7-month, and 7th day of life. Now, I did talk about this on the the Blood Moon series. So if you go back, it's a couple episodes back ago, but you had Pastor Steve Cicolani. He's obsessed with Trump. He thinks that Trump is the savior. I don't know if he's going that far, but he's looking at this identity with Trump and the blood moons. Trump was born on a blood moon, you know? So there's this kind of connection with him being the moon child of this Jack Parsons sex magic ritual that they did out in the desert, where they were summoning the moon child to bring about the Antichrist. A couple months after they performed that ritual, Donald Trump was born on a blood moon. So, hey, take it for what you will. It's very, very interesting. That's what I will say. Going back to this post here. He was elected on Prime Minister Netanyahu's 7th year, 7-month, and 7th full day of office. So Donald Trump came in on Netanyahu's 777. So Donald Trump, he even beat Hillary Clinton by 77 votes in the Electoral College because of 7 faithless electors. 777 again, right? Exactly 7 months later, from his first full day in office on January 21st, 2017, a total solar eclipse occurred. The first since the nation was formed in 1776 to be seen exclusively in the United States. So we just had another solar eclipse. There happened to be 7 years exactly between the two solar eclipses. I don't know if it's exactly, but it's 7 years, right? All of these most recent events occurred in the Hebrew year 5777, October 2nd, 2016 through September 20th, 2017. On July 7th, 2017, 7717, Trump met with Putin for the first time face-to-face when Putin was exactly 777 months old to the day in the Hebrew year 5777. All right, now I have the little article here. This is when Trump was meeting him. And you can see Trump's doing the little downward pyramid thing. He always does. So thought that was kind of odd. On the 75th anniversary of Israel's independence, Putin will turn 70 years, 7 months, and 7 days old on May 14th, 2023. On July 11th, 2018, in the 77th week of Donald Trump's inauguration, or since Donald Trump's inauguration, he was the 777th richest person in the world, according to Forbes. I have that right here. Look at this. Donald Trump, 777. His real-time net worth as of 7/11/2018 was $3.1 billion. Now, I don't know. This could be a fake screenshot or something, right? But it's very interesting. I tried to find it on the Forbes website, but it's like finding something of the 2018, list in the 77th week. I don't know. On Trump's 700th day in office, this is 12/20/2018, his defense secretary, Jim Mattis, resigned on the day that Israel turned 70 years, 7 months, and 7 days old. So that day was 12/21/2018. Mattis was due to depart exactly 70 days later on February 28th, 2019, on Donald Trump's 770th day in office. So this guy quits 70 days before you're supposed to, be departing. And that would have been Trump's 770th day in office. But he resigned on Israel's 70-year, 7 month, 7 day birthday. So it's just like, what are the odds of this stuff? All of it. On Donald Trump's 777th day since the election on November 8th, 2016, Israel announced that they would dissolve parliament and hold elections 7 months early on April 9th, 2019. So he does the math here. November 8th, 2016 equals day 1. December 24th, 2018 equals day 777. On Trump's 770th day in office, Israel's attorney general announced that Netanyahu will be indicted on bribery and fraud charges. So these are significant events happening around the number 7, right? The number 7 is very important because remember, God created the world in 6 numbered days and resting on the 7th, making it holy. Satan tries to be like the Most High, which would make sense why 7 is also important to him as well. And here we go. Looking at Thelema, Aleister Crowley, the interesting book here, 777 and other Kabbalistic writings of Aleister Crowley, right? Many of these occult secrets are revealed surrounding satanic use of this number. There's also some other stuff around the number 7 that I wanted to bring up. These are just some random articles that I found with Donald Trump and the number 7 or 777, right? The $777 million surprise. Donald Trump is getting richer. Oh boy. This is from the Sydney Morning Herald. This came out in November 8th, 2023. You also have this. Donald Trump has fallen 77 places in Forbes' ranking of the 400 richest Americans in 2020, as his properties take a big C little V hit. Now, this is the Business Insider back in 2020. All right, so I'm going to go into another Donnie Darkened Twitter thread that kind of pulls these numbers in. You're going to see a lot of the 222 connections. A lot of these numbers are connected in various fashions, where you'll have, 777, you'll have 666 and 911, you'll have 33 in there. They're all entwined, and they're all around Donald Trump. So this one starts, this is February 18th, 2022. The time between Pluto's return to 2222 and the second Great American Eclipse on 4/8/2024 is exactly 777 days. The two Great American Eclipses spans a timeline of 7 years, which occurred 7 months into Trump's presidency. Pluto, Hades, was the ruler of the underworld in Greece, blah, 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 blah. So this is the 7 cities of Salem. In 2017, the eclipse passed through 7 cities that were named Salem. All right, now Salem, Jerusalem is also called Salem in Genesis and Psalms. The 2024 eclipse, they're saying that this also passed through 7 cities of Salem. And here is somebody with their Google map and all this. This could be a fake thing. But there were the 8 or 9 cities of Nineveh, right? And that had to do with something else with the end times. There's a lot of mysteries and connections with these eclipses. That's what he was trying to say. So regarding the solar eclipse, you all remember in 2017 when Trump looked up straight at the sun and everybody was making fun of him, saying like, you did the one thing that you weren't supposed to do, Trump. Don't look at the sun without the protective lenses on, okay? You got to put the protective glasses on. There were several references of Trump being the Sun King, okay? Now, if you go back and you watch some of my additional analyses of Donald Trump, you'll see that there is this connection between Donald Trump, the Trump Tower, and King Louis XIV. Now, King Louis XIV was also known as the Sun King. King Louis loved everything in gold. Numerous articles are comparing Donald Trump to King Louis because Donald Trump, for the interior decoration of the Trump Tower, it was heavily influenced by King Louis XIV. Everybody's saying, okay, well, he's like obsessed with this guy, King Louis, blah, blah, blah. So not only that, but going back to this eclipse thing here, you have this RT article here saying Sun King, literally calling Trump the Sun King. Trump looks at the solar eclipse without protective glasses. All right, referring to him as the Sun King. You also have this, right? So connecting King Louis to Donald Trump. Donald Trump, a modern day King Louis XIV. Mirror, mirror on the wall. There he is. Look at that guy. All right. You've also had instances of Netanyahu be compared to the Sun King. The Sun King rules Israel. That's the title of this article. So all of these coincidences around the Sun King, there's many terms for the Sun King, the Sun God, right? So Ra, some people will say Apollo, right? And when you look at Apollo, when you make that connection, you have CERN coming in, you have Apollyon, you have the Revelation 9:11. Apollyon came out of the pit of hell. He's the fallen angel or the demon that will rise out of the pit of hell. So there's a lot to this with the Sun King stuff. All right. It goes into sun worship and all of this stuff. Exactly halfway between the dates of the 2 American solar eclipses, this was the day that the first mRNA Big C medicine poke was administered to the person in the United States. All right. Now, Trump has stated that he's the father of the jib jab, right? A side note, December 14th ties back to Trump. So on December 14th, 2001, which was the same year that 9/11 happened, Donald Trump turned 666 months old. Now, I mean, just there's some coincidences here where you're just like, okay, you could literally pluck that out of whatever, right? The first woman ever to receive the miracle medicine, I'm going to call it, outside of clinical trials was Margaret Keenan. here she is doing the downward triangle symbolism here. All right. The second person, this was the first man to ever receive the miracle medicine. His name was William Shakespeare. All right. How many of y'all remember this? He was the first man to ever receive the jib jab. All right. Mr. Shakespeare was the second person to be given the jab. Yes. All right. And sad to report that 5 months later, he did die of an unrelated illness. Who knows what that could be, right? But yes, very strange. So Shakespeare and the occult. Many people have tied Shakespeare back to the occult. This is a little blurb by Helen Heitzman Gordon. She's saying much of the content and storylines in Shakespeare's plays were of the supernatural theme. According to Martin Eben in They Knew the Unknown, Shakespeare gave dramatic form to the dreams, legends, and claims and counterclaims of the supernatural daring-do that abounded during his lifetime. And many of the ideas of the Rosicrucians and Freemasons are reflected in his plays and poetry. Going on to this article, it says, in the psychic world of William Shakespeare, Sherman Yellen asserts that Shakespeare, quote, believed in prophecy, witchcraft, astrology, magic, and ghosts. Yellen says that Shakespeare respected the supernatural in a manner unlike that of his contemporaries, so that, quote, the dignity with which he regarded the psychic raises it above the level of superstition at all times. Okay, so William Shakespeare, he was into this stuff, right? He was into end times prophecy, it sounded like. He was into astrology, witchcraft, magic, and he incorporated that topic or those topics into his plays. Shakespeare did have that quote where all the world is a stage. You know, there's certain number 17, the Q stuff, right? Saying that the world is a stage. I know that was on one of those posts and all that stuff, but that's a William Shakespeare type of thing. The world is a stage. Okay, so now let's get into Trump and the number 33. So the number 33 is heavily tied around the Freemason movement, right? Because there's notably 33 degrees of Scottish Rite Freemasonry. Trump is from Scotland, right? He is, his heritage is Scottish. And when we look at his family crest or his crest that he's using for his international golf course, you have the double-headed eagle. All right. Now, the double-headed eagle is the sign for Freemasonry. I mean, there's a lot that ties the double-headed eagle back to Freemasonry. All right. Now, this happens to be his logo that he used at the international golf course in Scotland. All right. And this is on this video where this guy kind of talks about the effort that he went through to get this. But you can clearly see the double-headed bird right here. You could say eagle, you could say phoenix, right? Phoenix rising through the ashes. But this is significant. It's very significant when you look at the Freemason movement. You know, is Trump a Freemason? I don't know. Are the Freemasons bad? I don't know. I don't know if they're working against the bad guys, if they're part of the bad guys. Who the hell knows, right? But it's a secret organization where, you know, they do a lot of things in secrecy. That, let alone, can make them the scapegoat for a lot of these conspiracies. So, yes, it's an easy out. It's an easy target, someone to blame because they're Freemason. But I don't know. There's you know, it's just like any of these corporations, organizations. The higher you go, the more corrupt they can become because they have political influence, they have sway, they have just monetary influence, all those things, right? Sticking with this double-headed eagle design, I found that this was very strange. This is something that I never heard of. So this was back in 2019. You had Donald Trump presenting at this, what was this? Turning Point USA. All right. This was this conservative U.S. group. They were fired up, you know, blah, blah, blah. They were having Donald Trump come here and speak. You had, what's this guy? Charlie Kirk. He's got a very large forehead and eyes that are too narrow. But hey, who's judging? Who's judging? All right. So Donald Trump comes out to speak, and look what's behind him. This is supposed to be the seal of the President of the United States, but it's not. This is a double-headed eagle. As Donald Trump came out, he had this design behind him instead of the real deal. And it was holding golf clubs in its hand instead of arrows and all this stuff. So it's just like, So when, I'm just going to read through this. When Mr. Trump took the stage at Turning Point USA's Student Summit, the president looked to be in his element, greeted by the crowd of adoring young conservatives. After a 12-minute video detailing his journey to the White House, Mr. Trump addressed the group, blah, 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 blah. Upon closer inspection, something about the president's presentation appeared amiss. First noted by the Washington Post, the seal that was flashed on the screen as Mr. Trump walked on stage had several calculated tweaks, all of which seemed to poke fun at the president. And they're just saying that this was a nod to Russia because, yeah, Trump walked out on stage. I watched the clip of this. He didn't even look at it, didn't even acknowledge it. But it's like with first glance, you look at this and you go, okay, the circle, you're not paying attention to the detail, but clearly it's a double-headed eagle. They're saying that this is a nod to Russia because this is on the Russian flag. The double-headed eagle is also a feature of the Russian flag, and the white horse there. Ooh, end times. I don't know. We'll see. But, yeah, it's just like, they're putting golf clubs in the hand of the bird instead of the freaking arrows. And also, on the official presidential seal, it says e pluribus unum, out of many, one. The doctored seal says 45 es un titre, which translates in Spanish to 45 is a puppet. So I thought that was very, very strange, right? I've never heard of this. But once you start looking this stuff up and you start looking for Trump 33, Trump Freemasonry, Trump, blah, 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 you just find a slew of articles all about Trump and the number 33. It is so odd. But before we get into those, before we get into the articles that say 33 and all that stuff and connected to Trump, this was another thing, Trump mentioning that his mentor was Norman Vincent Peale. And he was a 33-degree Scottish Rite Freemason. And this was a clip. He was asked by political commentator Frank Luntz if he'd ever asked God for forgiveness, and then he kind of dodges the question. It's kind of odd here.
People lined up for questions. I just got one more, because you used the word Christian. Have you ever asked God for forgiveness?
That's a tough question. I don't think in terms of, I'm a religious person. Shockingly, because people are so shocked when they find this out, I'm Protestant, I'm Presbyterian. And I go to church, and I love God, and I love my church. And Norman Vincent Peale, the great Norman Vincent Peale, was my pastor. The power of positive thinking. Everybody's heard of Norman Vincent Peale. He was so great. He would give a sermon, you never wanted to leave. Sometimes we have sermons, and every once in a while we think about leaving a little early, right, even though we're Christian.
You see how he's dodging the question? He says that I'm very religious. He never says that he believes in Jesus Christ. Just saying. He's very religious, but what religion is he very religious for?
Dr. Norman Vincent Peale, Frank, would give a sermon. I'm telling you, I still remember his sermons. It was unbelievable. And what he would do is he'd bring real-life situations, modern-day situations, into the sermon. And you could listen to him all day long. When you left the church, you were disappointed that it was over. He was the greatest guy. And then, he passed away, but he was a great... He wrote The Power of Positive Thinking, which is a great book.
But have you ever asked God for forgiveness?
So that's great. This guy follows up with the question, like, hey, Trump, you are not answering this question. You're dodging it. So I'm going to ask you again, which is great. And the audience laughs because they're like, yeah, dude, you totally just dodged this.
I'm not sure I have. I just go and try and do a better job from there. I don't think so. I think if I do something wrong, I think I just try and make it right. I don't bring God into that picture. I don't. Now, when I take, when we go in church and when I...
when we go in church and, You know, like he doesn't know what to say.
Drink my little wine, which is about the only wine I drink, and have my little cracker. I guess that's a form of asking for forgiveness, and I do that as often as possible because I feel cleansed, okay? But, to me that's important. I do that. But in terms of officially, I could say absolutely, and everybody, I don't think in terms of that. I think in terms of let's go on and let's make it right.
So let's... Microphone one, please.
So very awkward, right? You know? And like, I don't know, it's like one of those things where, to be, it's humility. Knowing when you're right, knowing when you're wrong, and asking for forgiveness and admitting it. That's something that Trump has never done. He never really does that with anything that he does, right? He never says, you know what, I was wrong there. I've learned from my lesson. Here's the three things that I'm going to do to make this right, and to make sure that I never go down that pathway again. He hasn't done that with his administration, right? Hiring Fauci, for God's sakes. Hiring John Bolton, for God's sakes. I mean, the guy doesn't admit when he's wrong. Rolling out the jib jab. He doesn't talk about the consequences of taking this, the repercussions. He doesn't talk about the injuries. So it's one of those things where he doesn't ask God for forgiveness. He never has admitted to doing so. And he never really kind of will ask anybody forgiveness. He won't ask the American people for forgiveness. He did say that he identified as Presbyterian. Something that I don't know a lot of people know is that he now identifies as a non-denominational Christian. This is back in 2020 on October 23rd. This is a quote. Though I was confirmed at Presbyterian Church as a child, I now consider myself to be non-denominational Christian. This is a quote from Trump, who has repeatedly identified as a Presbyterian in the past. So I'm just saying, like, why non-denominational? What changed? Since 2016, what has changed in that pathway? Did he get influenced by somebody? I don't know. But let's get back into some of these Donnie Darkin posts because we do have some things that are very, very interesting here. A few days ago, the Israel Heritage Foundation visited Trump at Mar-a-Lago to present him with a menorah as an award for his efforts to make peace in the Middle East. The menorah inscription calls Trump the Prince of Peace, the title prophesying the birth of Christ in Isaiah 9. The menorah cites the passage of Isaiah 9:6. For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder. And his name shall be called Wonderful Counselor, the Mighty God, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. Now, this wasn't the only thing that the Israel Heritage Foundation gave Donald Trump. Back in 2023, they gave him the Torah crown on July 10th, 2023. 33 weeks later, to the dot, they gave him the menorah. So exactly 33 weeks later, right, he's receiving another gift from the Israel Heritage Foundation. What are the odds? Why 33? Okay. Now let's get into some of these articles that have 33 tied in with Trump, because some of these are just like, what are the odds of this coming out to be 33, right? This is Forbes. Back in 2017, Donald Trump has been lying about the size of his penis. I mean, Penthouse. My goodness. Get your mind out of the gutter, Greg. So if you scroll down here into the article, you'll see that Donald Trump bragged that people have called his Manhattan Airy the best apartment ever built and emphasized its immense size, 33,000 square feet. He says, I own the top 3 floors, the whole floor times 3. Right? 33, right? 3 floors times 3. So he admitted to having once had a neighbor pointing to the door on the 66th floor. I leased that little section to Michael Jackson. I knew him better than anybody, okay? So he knew Michael Jackson and he leased the 66th floor to him. Records show that Trump acquiring the 6,096 square foot triplex apartment occupying sections of floors 66 through 68. So Trump occupies floors 66 through 68 of the Trump Tower. Okay. Now, we'll find out that, I mean, there's some oddities to that because it's listed to only have like, I don't know, 60 floors or something like that. But he says it has like 66 floors. So it gets into the 666. When we get into there, we'll go back to Trump Tower. All right. But that's that's one of those things where he was lying about the size of Trump Tower, saying it was 33,000 square feet. Company with ties to Trump's brother awarded $33 million government contract. Virginia-based company with ties to President Trump's brother awarded $33 million contract. Okay, there's that number again. Fact check. Donald Trump made 33 false claims at the second debate. So this was the second debate of Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton back in 2016. He made 33 false claims. Just 33. Democrats are using the Trump gambit in the 33rd Senate race. The Trump gambit. You know? Like the 33rd Senate race. I'm just like, what are we doing here? Majority of people in 33 nations surveyed disapprove of Trump. This is from The Independent. Donald Trump's chaotic first 100 days summed up in 33 cartoons. Why 33 cartoons? Why not 30 cartoons? Why not just a couple cartoons? Or just summed up in cartoons, right? Why 33? Why are you calling that number out? Washington Post. Trump has now made 33 visits to Trump-branded properties since his inauguration. This was an article from 2017 when they were trying to nab Trump on using his personal locations as like a, conflict of interest. 33 visits to Trump-branded properties. Donald Trump visited the golf course for the 32nd and 33rd times as president. It was in July 2017. I found this next one is hilarious. You're turning 33. I hope you'll have a nice party and don't worry, Mexico will pay for it. Happy birthday. These are happy birthday cards on Amazon. I couldn't find any other number except for 33. Let's make 33 great again. Donald Trump sarcasm. 33rd birthday cards for women, men, and friends, coworkers, etc. Right? It's only $9. 3 times 3, $9. There you go. Wow. We have Business Insider. Only 33% of Americans agree with Trump's acquittal in the Senate impeachment trial, poll shows. This is February 10th, 2020. This is CNN Politics. Why Donald Trump's 33-0 record is a lot less impressive than it looks. This came out March 4th, 2022. This is Newsweek, September 2020. Trump says he's mailing $200 to 33 million seniors before Election Day as he gains in the polls. Right? 33 million seniors. We have Joe Biden leads President Trump 61% to 33% in poll of the likely Erie County voters. 61 to 33. This is the Washington Post. The 33 worst days of Trump's political career ranked. Why 33 again? What are we doing here? Now check this out. This was Donald Trump using the Defense Production Act to make Kodak a pharmaceutical company. Do we all remember this? Kodak, the picture company? He turned them into a pharmaceutical company with this Defense Production Act. And he used it for the 33rd time. Okay? Listen to this.
Under this contract, our 33rd use of the Defense Production Act. Remember when you were saying, I didn't use it enough. And now you heard it's the 33rd use. We don't talk about it all the time. We used it. And we used it as a little bit of a threat, frankly, with certain companies that weren't doing as we were asking them to do, and it came through as both a threat and a usage. But this is a 33rd use of the Defense Production Act. Kodak will now produce generic active pharmaceutical ingredients, which is a big deal.
So 33, the pharmaceutical, industry, bringing that into play here. And remember when Big C, Little V first started, you saw like 33 cases, 33 deaths, 33, blah, blah, blah. 33 was everywhere. Everything changes at 33. I will tell you that. All right. 2024 presidential election odds. Donald Trump, he's at plus 333 to win. If you bet $100, you'll win $333. 2020, Trump made 33 false claims about the big C little v crisis in the first 2 weeks of March. He made 33 false claims. This is an article from 2020. 33 U.S. states reject Trump administration's big C little v testing guidelines. And this was back in 2020. 33 days until the U.S. election, chaos at the debate, and good news for Biden. So Donald Trump caught the big C little v. He got sick on October 1st. That was 33 days out from the election. The Trump Tower. It was completed on November 30th, 1983. Trump was elected president on November 8th, 2016. So that was 32 years, 11 months, and 9 days. So we're bringing in 9/11 here, right? 33. So essentially, he was elected 32 years, 11 months, and 9 days after the construction of Trump Tower. By the time that he was inaugurated, the Trump Tower was 33 years old. So the Trump Tower was 33 years old when he was inaugurated. So it's like, what are the odds, dude? What are the odds? Okay, let's get into 666, Trump and 666. What do we got here? What do we got? Trump raises $6.6 million in 6 days after federal charges. This is a New York Post. This is June of 2023. We have some Donnie Darkin stuff here. In Donald Trump's first fiscal year in 2016, the total U.S. budget deficit was widened to $666 billion. Right here, he has a little picture of it. U.S. federal deficit, $666 billion under Trump. Whoa. GOP primary delegates total, he had 666. So during the 2016 election, he was up by 666 delegates on the Ides of March. So 666 plus 666 plus 666 plus 6 plus 6 plus 6 equals 2016. Whew. That's a lot. That might be a stretch right there. I don't know. How Trump's billion-dollar campaign lost its cash advantage. All right. So this was talking about Trump's campaign financing and his financial edge over Joe Biden and how he just kind of like went. So down in this article, you find out that the Republicans gave a very odd amount of money. The RNC also paid a large legal bill of $666,667.66 to Reuters News and Media at the end of June. All right. So this is like legal costs and all that stuff. But look at this, look at that bill. 666,667.66. Like what? Why? Why is that the amount that's owed? You know? It's very, very, very strange. We have Donnie Darkin pointing out that Elizabeth Christ Trump died on 6/6/66. She died on June 6th, 1966. So this was Trump's mother, I believe. Donald Drumpf. The name of Trump's grandfather, Friedrich Drumpf, was anglicized to Frederick Christ Trump. Now, Drumpf is 666 in English Gematria, or Don Drumpf. But Gematria, numerology, all this stuff, you know, it's like you could have made his name Donald Drumpf and it wouldn't have equaled 666. So I'm just saying, like, you can pick and choose with this stuff. Donnie Darkin pointing out that Donald John Trump in Hebrew is this letter stuff here. And if you add all of the Hebrew reduction, Hebrew ordinal, and Hebrew gematria all together, it equals 666. All right, so Donald John Trump literally equals 666 in Hebrew. You know, some of this stuff, it's quite a stretch, right? This one is kind of a stretch here. I mean, you know, you could just pinpoint any article out and just say, oh, that was 666 days before this. So President Donald Trump announced Diamond's death exactly 666 days before the next presidential election. Her precious heart gave out, Trump said. And he also points to Jeremiah 17:1. The sin of Judah is written with the pen of iron and with the point of a diamond. It is graven upon the table of their heart. Okay. So like diamond and silk. All right, she died. Donnie darkened again. Also, June 24th, 1717 is the founding date of Freemasonry. Supposedly. This June 24th was a 666 date. The Roe overturn, Q return, as well as the moon joining in rare planetary alignment that began the day Trump turned 666,000 hours old. So all of these, like June 24th, 2-4 also adds up to 6, right? That's when Roe was overturned. That's when Q returned. That's when the moon made this rare planetary alignment. He also talking about the Q return. It was exactly 1,700 days following his first post in 2017. Donald Trump turned exactly 666,000 hours old on June 5th this month, the day that the rare 5-planet alignment began, the day before 6/6/2022. So 2 plus 2 plus 2 equals 6. So that's 666, he's saying. On his birthday, yesterday, he turned 666,216 hours old. 6 times 6 times 6 equals 216. Much like he won the 2016 election. You remember 666 plus 666 plus 666 plus 6 plus 6 plus 6 equals 2016. So, yeah, there's just a lot of that. Donald Trump signed the Abraham Accords peace deal on 9/15/20. Exactly 666 days later, Biden would arrive in Israel to sign the Jerusalem Declaration the following day on July 14th, the day of Ivana's death. Oh, okay. So Ivana died 666 days after the peace deal. Aye. Right? You have here, Ivana Trump was found dead at the bottom of her stairs on July 14th. This was 30 years, 3 months, and 3 weeks after their divorce date of March 12th, 1992. What are the odds? And if you look at Ivana Marie Zelnikova equals 666 in primes, right? Her death date is exactly 6 years, 6 months, and 6 days before Trump's last day as president. Wow. On January 20th, 2029, if he becomes the 47th president. Okay. All right. I get you. 6,666 weeks in between Adolf Hitler's birthday and Donald Trump's inauguration day. This one is kind of a weird coincidence with the whole 666 stuff. Napoleon, Alexander the Great, Donald Trump were all cut from the same cloth, and that cloth is very large. So the numbers at the end of this subtly tie into 666. So this is a Pizza Hut or something commercial here. Watch this.
From the same cloth.
Here, I'm going to turn this down just a tad.
Napoleon, Alexander the Great, Donald Trump, we're all cut from the same cloth, and that cloth is very, very large.
It's not too big, is it?
No.
Why do New Yorkers have such big mouths?
Go big or go home.
Because they eat big pizza like the big New Yorker from Pizza Hut. We're talking 40% bigger. Soft, fresh dough with all your favorite toppings. Now from just $9.95.
You've got to be losing money on this.
Oh my God. Why don't they make commercials like this anymore?
131166.
So right there, 131166. 1 plus 3 is 4, plus 1 is 5, plus 1 is 6. So 1 plus 3 plus 1 plus 1 is a 6. And then you have another 6, right?
Pizza Hut.
There you are. When's the last time you saw that Pizza Hut commercial? If you ever have, I don't know. All right, so here we go. Donald Trump's tower. His apartment is on the 66th floor. What's strange is that there's only 58 floors. But Donald Trump insists that his floor is the 66th. Revelation is the 66th and final book in the Bible. All right? And he points out to this article that says Trump Tower is actually 10 floors shorter than Donald Trump says it is. Trump Tower is also 203 meters tall, which is 666 feet. Google says that it is only 202 meters tall, but New York City architecture says 203 meters, which is 666 feet. All right. There we go, 203 meters high. Also, Jared Kushner bought 666 Fifth Avenue back in 2007 for $1.8 billion. At that time, it was the most expensive real estate deal in New York City's history. He bought this on his 26th birthday. Right? So it was so special that he purchased this building. And I heard that he went through a lot of hoops to buy this thing. It was like a lot of back and deal. I mean, this is the most expensive deal in real estate in New York City history. And he bought it on his birthday. 666. I mean, just think about that. Some other strange stories about the Trump administration. Lawyers can't find the parents of 666 migrant kids. So the Trump administration said that they couldn't find parents for 545 kids. Now they say it's 666. Ooh, nasty. All right. Another one that's odd. Author takes down Donald Trump in exquisite 666-word Facebook post. It has to be a 666-word Facebook post? Like what? What are we doing? What are the odds? What are the odds that all of these people are doing this on purpose? What are the odds that this is not on purpose? Let's add it up. I don't know. So going back to Trump Tower real quick, you do have the inverted pyramid with 6 trees on each side in the side of Trump Tower, right? You have the 7 pillars of Baal or whatever the heck, there's been other, I've done research on this before. Go watch the Trump Osiris episode. You'll see at the end, I kind of go over this Trump Tower, but you have this 6 by 6 by 6 inverted triangle of trees on the side of Trump Tower. 666, right? And this one is very strange. Trump Tower has multiple addresses. Trump Tower is set at 721 through 725 Fifth Avenue in North Midtown. This perfectly mirrors Daniel 721 through 25, speaking about the little horn of Daniel, which is the false prophet. Also, little horn, trumpet. A horn is a trumpet. Okay, now right here, Trump Tower is at 721 through 725 Fifth Avenue in North Midtown. So several of these addresses, right? And then you have 721 through 725 talking about little horn. And the 10 horns out of his kingdom are 10 kings that shall rise and all this stuff, right? So another thing here is that Trump announced his 2024 presidential run 666 days from his last day in office. So his last day in office was January 19th, 2021. And he announced this on November 15th, 2022. Well, also 666 days from November 15th, 2022, when he came out saying that he was going to run for the 2024 election, is 9/11, 2024. So you take the day that he came out saying, I'm going to run for president, you add 666 days, and you have 9/11. Right? Now, Trump and 9/11, we're going to get into that next, but he's significantly tied to this. Like, he was there on 9/11, right, in New York City. He did so many of these interviews where he's saying, like, the buildings looked like there was, like, explosives in them. All this stuff. So I believe that Trump will announce his VP pick on or around July 20th, 2024. Or the 21st, because the 21st is a full moon. These people do these things on the full moon. I think he got the big C, little v, the sickness on a full moon. July 20th, 2024 is exactly 6 weeks and 66 days from the day of the election. So July 20th, 2024, I believe that Trump will pick his VP pick on that day because of the 666. Just like he waited to announce that he was going to run for president in 2024 until 666 days from his last day in office. He had to wait that amount of days. All right. And if you think about it, In 2016, he picked Mike Pence in the month of July. So it would kind of fit the same trend of waiting until July to pick his VP. You're already kind of waiting that long. If you have this introduction of the 6 weeks, 66 days from the election, you're going to wait and you're going to come out on the 20th and you're going to announce. Let's see if that prediction comes true. If it does, you might know that Trump's in on this shit. I'm just throwing it out there. Just throwing it out there, all right? We'll see. To be determined. TBD. All right, now, so let's get into Trump in 9/11, okay? Now, 9/11 is, when people think about 9/11, obviously they think about the date, 9/11/2001, when the Twin Towers fell down. But you can also look at 9/11, Revelation 9/11 in the Bible. Revelation 9/11 in the Bible talks about the angel of the bottomless pit, also known as Abaddon in Hebrew and Apollyon in Greek, and will be the king over the people, right? So this is when the bottomless pit is opened. Apollyon, Abaddon will come out and rule over. And this is the beast, right? This is the Antichrist. So there's just a lot to this whole Apollyon, 9/11, angel of the bottomless pit, Antichrist, 9/11, right? You also have this. Was September 11th the true date of Jesus's birth? Right? Now, this is a theory. This is a theory that's out there, that Jesus Christ was born on September 11th, 3 BC. And this has to do with signs in the heavens and scripture. You know, in 3 BC, the sun and the moon in Virgo occurred on one day only, and that was September 11th. The configuration of the sun and the moon was visible in Palestine between the sunset and the moonset, blah, 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 blah. So they're saying they have some scripture that they're looking at, and they're correlating it to where the stars would be if you would reverse time and you'd look at the alignments and all that stuff, right? Amazingly, this corresponds to the Tishri 1 on the Jewish calendar. I think I'm saying that right. I'm sorry if I'm not. Which is the first day of the festival of the Feast of Trumpets. All right, so September 11th would be the first day of the Feast of Trumpets festival. Trumpets. Trump. We're tying it all back here. And then just this weird, odd story I wanted to play here. This has nothing to do with Trump, but there's something to do with 9/11 and how it is bringing about change, and it is significant. And I remember on 9/11, the story of 9/11, that the attack, the first person to pass away was in row 9, seat 11. You had so many things that were adding up to 9/11. I think the attacks occurred at 9/11 in the morning. So, it was flight 9/11. It's just like all of these things that were saying 9/11, and if you think about 9/11, what are you trying to do? Is it bringing about change? Is it paying tribute to the angel of Abaddon, to Jesus Christ? Was he born on 9/11? I don't know. But look at this crazy story real quick.
We have a true 9/11 baby.
Proud parents Gematria and Justin Brown standing by her side just hours after she made history at Methodist Le Bonheur, Germantown. Gematria was scheduled for a C-section. They got inside the delivery room around 8:55 p.m.
Time was just rolling, and then all of a sudden we heard the whang, and next thing you know, they called it 9/11, and then they got on the table, and all of a sudden, oh my God, she weighs 9/11.
Even the delivery doctor shocked by the numbers.
Look at that. So she was born on September 11th, 9/11, at 9:11 p.m., and she weighed 9 pounds and 11 ounces. What are the odds? Right? Now, I know that has nothing to do with Trump, but I was just saying, there is something to this number, 9/11. I keep seeing it all the time. I keep seeing it in the clocks. I see it everywhere. 9/11. What is this? What does this mean? Here's a clip where Donald Trump was referring to the World Trade Center attacks, and he said 7/11, not 9/11. Now, 9/11 is ingrained in everybody's brain. 9/11, right? 911 is literally what we call for our emergencies over here in America. So why would he say 7-Eleven? Like, what? Watch this.
I think what I want to do is I want to talk just for a second. I wrote this out, and it's very close to my heart because I was down there, and I watch our police and our firemen down on 7-Eleven, down at the World Trade Center right after it came down. And I saw the greatest people I've ever seen in action. I saw the bravest people I've ever seen, including the construction workers, including every person down there. That's what New York...
Okay, so like 7-Eleven. Was that just a brain fart? You know, and if you think about it, our calendars are kind of 2 months ahead, right? Like October is our 10th month, but oct means 8. So it's 2 months ahead of where it should be. So November 11th, was that really July 11th? Is that why he said 7-Eleven? Because he knows like the true calendar of things? I don't know. Very strange. But going back into Donnie Darkins here, he has a thread. The American Gemini, Donald Trump, 9/11, the mortal wound predictive programming. Trump was the 45th president, 4 plus 5 is 9, and will become the 47th president, which is 4 plus 7 is 11, 9/11. Donald equals 119 in Jewish Gematria, 9/11. 9/11 BC is the birth of our Lord Jesus Christ, Savior, blah, blah, blah. So even he was pointing out that, yes, he believes that Jesus was born on 9/11. But this is why Donald Trump could not be the 46th president. Because it wouldn't have this numerology tied to it. Theoretically, right? We're talking, you know, if this is all true. He is the 45th, and he must become the 47th to make the 9/11. And he is a Gemini, a twin, the twins, the Twin Towers, 9/11. He is the 9/11. All right. Now, I do want to play this, and I want to play some clips from this because Trump predicted 9/11. He predicted the attacks.
Trying to scrape up a down payment for a little fixer-upper in your neighborhood? Take a look at my next guest. There's a report around Wall Street that this is what he has in mind. This is Donald Trump, 33 years old.
33 years old.
And some people think that he wants to buy the World Trade Center, the 110-story Manhattan skyscraper that anyone can pick up if they've got the coins.
And this kind of goes through some scenes here in different movies and kind of compares, oh, this is like Gremlins or something, but this guy is supposed to be Donald Trump in the movie, right? And like, look at the microphones, 9/11. So some predictive programming there. We look at right here. This is some interesting stuff where Trump, he has this book and it's predicting 9/11 in the book, right? The America We Deserve. So check this out. Roland.
One day we're told that a shadowy figure with no fixed address named Osama bin Laden.
So this is an excerpt from Donald Trump, January 2000.
Is public enemy number 1, and U.S. jet fighters lay waste to his camp in Afghanistan. I really am convinced we're in danger of the sort of terrorist attacks that will make the bombing of the 1993 Trade Center look like kids playing with firecrackers.
Okay. Now, we're going to continue playing this. And he's going to get into some interviews here. So check this out.
Real estate in Manhattan, and of course...
Here we go.
Donald, I understand you were actually a witness to what happened this morning.
Well, I have a window that looks directly at the World Trade Center, and I saw this huge explosion. I was with a group of people, and I really couldn't even believe it. I mean, you look at Larry Silverstein, who's a terrific owner in New York and a very good friend of mine who I just called. I was very worried about him because I assumed maybe he was in the building.
Silverstein, he took the day off. I think Donald Trump's just going to say this, but there's been a lot of connections with him saying that he was given the tip that the building was going to go. He wasn't in the building that day. Surprising.
Possession of the building 1 week ago.
Mr. Trump, what should be the response to this attack? How should the U.S.
So let me rewind that, because he said that Silverstein took possession of the building 1 week ago. Listen to this.
I was very worried about him because I assumed maybe he was in the building. He took possession of the building 1 week ago.
Mr. Trump, what...
So the guy took possession, Silverstein, he took possession of the Twin Towers, and then 1 week later, he doesn't go to work and the buildings fall down.
should be the response to this attack? How should the U.S. respond to such a devastating?
Well, I think they have to respond quickly and effectively. They have to find out exactly what the cause was, who did it, and they have to go after these people because there is no other choice. And then secondarily, and much less importantly, we have to rebuild in some form that will be just as majestic as the World Trade Center.
Just as majestic, right? So Donald Trump was all up in it. They were interviewing him as like the go-to guy, you know, and he did another interview where he was saying like, it looks like a bomb went off and, you know, those things were made out of steel and all this stuff. Like, I don't know how the airplane jets and all that stuff, like how the gas kind of melts this. Like, he was kind of suspicious with the whole thing. Right now, check this out. This was Obama, and he is signing the One World Trade Center beam. That's what they named this thing, the One World Trade Center. And they did this on Donald Trump's birthday, 6/14/2012. And each phrase starts with we. So you have we remember, we rebuild, we come back stronger. So you have that WWW. Some people will say that, you know, if you look at the Hebrew language, the sixth letter, it adds up to 666. So WWW equals 666. I don't know about that, but so check this out. Here's Obama signing this thing on Trump's birthday, mind you. Oh, Big Mike's making her signature as well. There we go. There's Cuomo in the back.
Secondarily, and much less importantly, we have to rebuild in some form that will be just as majestic as the World Trade Center.
So we remember, we rebuild, we come back stronger.
What kind of cost would you estimate to rebuild this area? How much money has been lost?
All right, so I'm going to go forward just a little bit here. Trump talking about rebuilding the Trade Center as the Twin Towers 2. Okay.
We want to rebuild the World Trade Center as the World Trade Center, but better. A little bit taller, a lot stronger, just plain better.
Okay. Twin Towers 2, a.k.a. Trump Twin Towers, was the proposed skyscraper complex which could have or would have replaced the original Twin Towers that were destroyed on 9/11/2001. The complex was designed by Herbert Belton and Kenneth Gardner. It was sponsored by Donald Trump. You also have right here, let's see, this was Donald Trump on the Oprah show. Oprah's following him around, right?
I'm doing 2 deals that I think will be terrific. It's a hectic lifestyle, but it's fun. It's
hectic
creative.
Lifestyle.
Before his first meeting, Donald Trump hits the phones.
The other guy's going to have a fit if you tell him that. Don't even.
Look at the time of the clock. 9/11. I mean, you can argue that's like 9/14, 9/13. But people are saying that looks like 9/11.
Mention it to him.
On the
Just
clock
get
there.
the damn thing signed, okay?
That's weird. That's strange. You also have this, like Trump and the sheep commercial.
Why don't you come work for me? What do you have in mind? Something you were born to do. Welcome.
Right there.
To room 9.
Trump's walking down the hallway. You have one sheep in front that says 9, one sheep in the back that says 11.
Looking good, number 9. Looking good. Where's your dignity?
9/11. So Donald Trump wins the presidency, and his first day is 11/9/2016. So November 9th was his first day.
For President of the United States,
it is my high honor and distinct privilege to introduce to you the President-elect of the United States of America, Donald Trump.
It's 11/9, 9/11. Any way you put it. So let's go forward here. This is talking about the twins, the Donald Trump and the twin connection. That's very, very interesting topic to talk about as well. the Twin Towers, the Tale of Two Trumps, and all that stuff. Let's see. Let's go into here where we are going to look at Donald Trump and the Revelation. So Revelation 17:10. Here we go.
And there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen, and 1 is, and the other is not yet come. And when he cometh, he must continue a short space. And the beast that was and is not, even he is the 8th.
Because, yes, this is going through a list of leaders, right? So you have Nebuchadnezzar, Darius III, Alexander the Great, and Antiochus the Fourth, Epiphanes, I don't know. Napoleon Bonaparte, Adolf Hitler, Donald Trump is the 7th. And then he was not because he left, but then he will come back as the 8th again, right? Saved, fallen. Anyway, yeah, you guys get it. He's coming back, right? He is, and he has not yet come. So he kind of fits the description of this kind of thing here. I don't know exactly, but we'll see. I did have some more stuff here that I wanted to show you. So this is Gematria Effect News. April Fool's Big C Little V update. 911,000 cases and 45,000 deaths. So Trump was the 45th president. There's that 911, right? 911,000 cases. Surpassing 9/11 U.S. death toll, Trump's rating is an all-time high. Okay? So the worldwide confirmed cases reach 911,000. So yes, hopefully you enjoyed this episode. I know that was a lot. There's so many different connections with Trump and these numerology, prophetic kind of numerology, gematria, all this stuff. So does it mean anything, or is it all just a coincidence? You guys tell me, because to me, it seems like there's so much of this that's just too much. It's whether like the news articles, they're using these numbers like 33,666. Like, why are you using those numbers? Why not something else, right? Like the 666 word essay. Like, why are we doing this? You know, to me, that seems intentional. It seems like they're trying to invoke something. These numbers have energy. They're trying to draw something from that, make something happen to influence an outcome. What does it all mean? What power do these numbers have? I don't know. If anybody does know, let me know in the comments. If you did like this episode, go back and check out the other episodes. They're very, very insane. They're very, very intense, and they have to do with what's happening right now with Israel and Iran, right? The conflict, the World War III that's seemingly predicted by Albert Pike, the 33rd degree Freemason, between Islam and Judaism. So will Trump be the savior, the false light bringer that will save everybody from this falling Babylon beast system? Who the hell knows, right? But it's very, very interesting. I do have a lot of other interesting facts on Donald Trump, like the Ingersoll Lockwood books, where he's like a time traveler and all that stuff. That I feel like is a whole episode in itself. It's more fun, has nothing to do with Antichrist. It's just like time traveler stuff. So maybe we'll get into that somewhere down the road. I think we've done a lot on Trump here, so it's time to move on. If you like this episode, leave a thumbs up, share the episode, subscribe, also download and rate on Apple and Spotify, okay? It really does help out the show. I appreciate it every time you guys do that, and I read all the comments. I really do. So thank you so much for doing what you do, and thank you for supporting the show. I really do appreciate it. Until next time, everybody, stay steamy.